Hey everyone, it's the Eclectic Handyman here today with these two super awesome new older stock made in the USA 8-piece ratcheting wrench sets in both metric and standard. Let's check them out. All right, so really excited to make this video and show these two particular sets off. Been tracking them down for some time. I did get them a little while back, just making the video right now. Was able to get both sets in their original cards, and I won't be keeping them like this because, as I say with all my tools in all these videos, I will be using these. There's an interesting story for me on these personally and how they came about and why I wanted to get them. So let's get into all of the aspects. Let's start with the metric set right here, and you can see it's just beautiful. So these came in 8-piece set, and as they were in the store, you were able to, just kind of see the swing because they have a 5-degree ratcheting arc in them. And also, they are the long beam. I'm going to talk more about them in a minute. So what came in this set was the 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, and 18 for a total of 8 pieces. And again, part number 942451. So you would have seen this hanging at Sears just like this on the pegs, and you could have slid this off and got it. And as for the metric set in the black based card right here, we have another, again, 8-piece set. And then again, you could try it out right here. Wants you to try everything identical. We'll mention these are 12-point wrenches right here in just tremendous shape. These came with the 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, 1/2, 9/16, 5/8, 11/16, and 3/4. Also, again, an 8-piece set, and was part number 942450. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our Craftsman catalog as we always do for reference. Now, this is the 2007 to 2008 catalog, and taking a look right here, you will notice that it does indicate as new. So these are the long beam ratcheting. So they call it here, and you can save a little bit if you got the 16-piece fully polished flat ratcheting wrench set. This came with the roll pouch. I don't have that, but they did have the two individual sets matching our part numbers, the two 8-piece sets, and originally they were $80 a piece. I can say for these two sets, I believe I paid somewhere between 1.5 and 2x, which is reasonable considering that they are no longer made. They're USA wrenches. Anything richer than that, and it gets a little bit out of league. I think some of the Craftsman tools are really starting to get quite pricey. You start to get into Snap-on territory, and that's probably a video for another day. But at 2x cost or whatever, these, I'm really happy with the investment that I made because I know the quality behind them. All right, so let me tell you a story about these. I grew up always being able to go to Sears, and like I said, walk in, know that the tools were made in the USA with the exception of some, and just always took for granted that things were made in the USA that were Craftsman. I really wasn't into the news when Craftsman started to offshore a lot of their production of their hand tools and manufacturing. So what had happened was around 2018, I went to the Sears site before it was defunct, and guess what? I picked up probably my favorite set of ratcheting wrenches. I bought them from the site. I was like, wow, these are great. This is a 15 millimeter. It's got some scratches because I use it. And I had been using it for some time. And I noticed one day, check this out, I turned it over, and you probably know where I'm going with this. I'm like, where's the USA marking? And then I did a little research, and I was like, oh my gosh, I did not realize that Craftsman stopped being made in the USA. In fact, you'll still get some people on eBay that just assume because they're selling something on Craftsman, not often, but it does happen, where they say made in the USA, and it's like, no, your picture actually shows it's, maybe made in China or Taiwan. So I had seen this indication right here. I believe AH is the date code for this manufacturer stamping, but I'm not sure if this was Apex Tools or who made this. But this was, I believe these were made in China. And so that's when I first knew. So the first tools that I got when I recognized that Craftsman was no longer domestically made, because again, not keeping in tune with the news, was this set. And this set is what this set is, but made in the USA. So I've always wanted to replace these with these, and I have finally done it. So let's take a look over on the wall where I have these. So right here I have, for quick access, I have the set. Now it's actually a 20-piece set between the, and I think I actually added on the 19 millimeter from a separate set, but they were still all quick access. You know, I can just pull them down, but these are all imported versions of Sears Craftsman. So I did not get these from Lowe's, but this is the set that I wanted to replace. So it was really neat to be able to track these down and acquire them. Now, one of the things you might be wondering or have picked up on, now I've already shown you, the imported version. I can put that up here, but the much more popular ratcheting wrenches are these ones right here, which I do have a video. I'll leave a link up here where I reviewed these, and I got the metric set. And so the reversible ratcheting, which many like, have this capability directly. So if you have your hand, say, down in an engine bay or something, you don't have to actually pull off and flip the wrench like you do with these. You can actually just toggle it with your thumb. Now, these are great, and I like them, but one of the things that I will show is that these are long beam, and I prefer the length of the long beam versus the reversible ratcheting ones. Now, I know I'm comparing my old one, but this will give you, these are actually about the same. So you can see how much shorter it is. And maybe in some instances, you actually prefer this. And again, this is the USA made one. So one of the things that I really do like about these is the length, because you can get more leverage when you're trying to get a nut or bolt off. Also, the reversible ratcheting being so much more common. So for example, looking in this 0506 catalog, and it was available even before, you can see right here the reversible wrenches and all the different pieces to them. So these are much more common. In fact, if you see on eBay or people in general, you honestly, if you compare these to these, I will see these, this is an informal observation, but you'll see these about 20-1 versus these. So are these more rare? I think just by, I don't have sales numbers or anything like that, but from my observation, what you see of these versus how available the reversible ratcheting, and again, it may have been that these were more preferred in general because of their ease of being able to switch from forward to reverse so easily, but these are less common. They do show up on eBay from time to time, but then it'll go a spell where it might be 6 or 8 months and you never see them. So if you like this style of wrench and want the USA made ones, you probably should get yourself a set. Now, there is one thing that I'm a little disappointed with this compared to the import set I got. So this set I got here from Sears back in 2018 was a 20-piece set, 10 standard, 10 metric. Well, these are 8-piece, and you might say, oh, hopefully they open stock. Well, they do have skips. So like the 9 millimeter, the 11 millimeter, and the 16 millimeter, and then the 19 millimeter. And unfortunately, they just don't exist. So if you come over here and look at the open stock, what's available on open stock, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, and 18. So I don't have a way to match my existing set. They made more sizes in the imported set than they did with this set, which is kind of a shame. I really wish they had additional open stock sizes so you could have no skips in both the standard and metric. So what I showed you on the wall, I am actually not going to be able to replace wrench for wrench, size for size. And that is unfortunate. It's not even anything where I've ever found that it's a rare part number, like you see with some of the sockets I've shown on this channel. So this is a more limited set. Now, the more common sizes, I think of those, I would like, not so much the 11 millimeter, but if there was a 16 millimeter and a 19 millimeter, that'd be nice. But hey, I've got the other sets. I've got the 19 millimeter, in the reversible ratcheting. I also have a video to that. And I have a version of the 19 millimeter in this. So listen, no shortage of options. But I'd like these to be my go-to wrench. Again, the long beam is probably my favorite part of these, and being USA Construction, these are super, super high quality, very nice set. I mean, just look at the fully polished, this is just, I don't know if the camera's showing it or not, but they are immaculate in excellent, excellent shape. So let's go ahead and take these out of their cases and inspect them a little more closely. All right, one of the things that I don't like with the original packaging, even though it's supposed to be like they're giving you a free holder for your wrenches, is every time you slide these in and out, they actually can scratch the wrenches. Listen, if you use them, they're gonna get scratched. So, I mean, they're not made to go to car shows or whatever, but still, you want to be the one making the scratches from your work, not because just being right out of the package. So once I get these out of here, overall, they're not going to be back in here again. So they did say, no, normally you would use like a pair of needle nose and you could pull on this, but since I've already gotten them loosened up. So you take those two off and then away you go. Let's take a look at some of these wrenches. So let's inspect, the 18 millimeter here. So you can see here, 18 millimeter Craftsman USA, again, stamped on the front. All right, so the GK series right here, or manufacturer stamping, I kind of use those synonymously. As from what I can tell from the research, this would have been the Danaher or Kinsley tool manufacturer. Again, this set probably circa 2007 and 8 to 2012, depending on, so you're looking at a 5, maybe 6 years with some, sticking around at Sears stores. So not a super long range of production. Man, we've got the part number on this 18 millimeter 42576. And once again, so you've got that 5 degree of ratcheting arc right here. And then in order to reverse, you flip the wrench over and then you go the other way. So let me know in the comments below. Some people actually probably say, I don't like that type of wrench. If I want the long pattern, I'll go with a standard wrench, which I have a set of Craftsman Professional, just polished wrenches that are not ratcheting, but I don't really mind. Yes, I do fumble around sometimes. I'm like, wait, does it go this way or this way? But you get it at 50-50. So, or if you really pay attention, okay, this side is, we're going to do the loosening, and then this side right here with the code, we're going to be doing the tightening. So anyway, I don't put that much effort into it. If I don't have it right, I just flip it around because I'm not staring at the wrench. But just a beautiful wrench right here. I mean, yeah, it is kind of hard to imagine when you've got something this nice that you're going to torque down and scratch this all up. But again, these are not show pieces. But 99, probably 100% of the time, I'm using this side of the wrench. If I really had to dig into something on an open end wrench like this, I would get, any number of my other wrenches probably out. All right, so there's the 18. Let's take a look at a few more of these. We got the 17 millimeter, typically in sequence, 42575. Once again, just an excellent looking wrench, and same thing. Got that ratcheting. The 15 millimeter. So this one I'm going to compare to the import for the length. We've got that 15 millimeter, 42573, same code right here. Although I will notice that says GKE, maybe that's, and this says GKF. And I forget on the last one if that's indicating the timestamp. There's a great thread on Garage Journal. It's really the de facto thread about all manufacturer codes for Craftsman tools, but sometimes it's finding the additional information, you got to hunt that down. All right, let's compare the import version to the USA version. Let's take a look from a couple of different angles. So, all right, taking a look at both wrenches, I'm going to kind of line them up visually here. They're pretty much about the exact same length, or very, very close in length. One thing that I'm noticing a little bit differently here, if we pick it up, is that the part of the wrench around the ratcheting mechanism, if we look around here, is actually larger on the imported version in my right hand versus the USA, which is more streamlined around that. Also, the wrench, I can certainly tell by holding it, does appear to be a bit thicker, the import version, than the USA made version. And so if we put these two on top of each other, we can kind of see as well, kind of comparing there. Now you can see just a slight bit of length difference right there, probably talking about 1/8 of an inch or so. Other than that, very, very similar. But you're going to see, one of the things, the nature of the weight here. Let's actually take a weight measurement. All right, so I've got the ounces measurement up here. We'll start with the import version, and that is coming in at about 6 to 6.1 ounces. And then the USA made version right here, weighing in at 5.4 ounces. So you've got a difference of not quite an ounce difference, but certainly the import version here on top, and again with that thicker housing around the ratcheting mechanism on the wrench, and some of the thickness difference, which I can feel is going to make up the difference in weight. Now, what's to be said about that at the end of the day? Well, you can't always judge the quality necessarily by the weight or anything of that nature. They were made at a different period, but I will tell you something. Let's just be matter of fact about this. I really want the USA version because I know it's well made. I know from, again, the nostalgia standpoint, it was something I always had intended to get when I got these. But at the end of the day, there's a ton of miles on this. Now, if you are looking, and I'm telling you because I've seen them on eBay, the 20-piece import ratcheting wrench set that I'm holding here, the 10 and 10, if you do not want to fork out the money for this, but you're still a Craftsman fan and you don't care if it's import or not, these have a ton of miles on them. I have worked on the car, the motorcycle, just about everything, and dropped them and done everything. This is a good wrench. So can I really say that this one is far less superior than the USA made version? Maybe not in this instance. I'm going to be quite transparent and truthful about that. But I'll tell you, being a little bit lighter weight, it is easy to, maneuver around. And, if you're in an engine bay, I mean, I always use the engine bay as an example because a lot of times working on car, that's exactly what it is. You're in a tight spot, your skin's getting rubbed, you're scraping up and bleeding and trying to get something in a tight spot. And so having a thin, agile wrench like this is really advantageous. So, that half an ounce or so is actually can be advantageous, to use the wrench. So that's pretty cool, on that comparison between the two. Let's finish up looking at the set here. All right, so we have the 14 millimeter, which is part number 42572. We've got the 13 millimeter, which is 42571. The infamous 10 millimeter, gonna get a workout. Don't lose this one, 42569. And then this tiny one here, which is the 8 millimeter, which is part number 42568. Also over here, not hiding, but this is the 12 millimeter that again was on display, and you can take this off and then pull this one out as well. All right, let's take a look at the standard set. All right, same deal here with the packaging. These things can be, like I mentioned, can be a little bit stubborn. Ugh, get the old pliers out here on this one. All right, so here, starting out with the largest wrench, which is the 3/4 Craftsman USA. Just can't get over that. That's so cool. I mean, it's just such a rarity these days to have made in the USA tools. So really, again, that's the real wow factor here. 42567 GK, also Danaher, Kingsley made these, same era. 11/16, 42566, 5/8, 42565. And the 9/16, 42564. We got the 1/2 inch. This one will get used. 42563. Seems like the 1/2 inch and the next one on deck, 3/8 inch, are probably the ones I use the most from the standard set, especially around the house. You know, you'll get things inside or plumbing and whatnot. 42561. Oh, actually, yeah, that was a 3/8. And then we have the 5/16. Beautiful tiny little wrench here. 42560. And then over here, the one that was on display is the 7/16. You know, you were able to try it out in the store and go, wow, it ratchets, neat, woohoo, I want this set. But at $80 back at that time, that was quite a premium. And this was, you know, let's talk about that for a minute before we wrap up this video. And this is what was kind of the Achilles heel back then. You know, as Harbor Freight started to enter the world and cheaper tools at Lowe's and Home Depot and other places, $80 back in, you know, especially around the financial crisis, but that time, 2008, 9, 10, 11, you know, and all of a sudden you're able to get a polished set of wrenches or a nice set of wrenches from Harbor Freight. The Icon series hadn't come out yet for maybe a fraction of the cost, was really starting to put the pressure on Craftsman to make their manufacturing happen overseas. But I'll tell you what, I think there are a ton of people these days that would buy a made in the USA set at $80 if they could do such a thing. And it was unfortunate that the Sears plant down in Texas wasn't able to make it and thrive with some USA made tools. All right, so wrapping up this video on these new older stock. You know, by the way, when I say new older stock or NOS, a lot of people mean, what does that mean? It means that it's an original tool that hadn't been used. It's still, you know, original and older stock. So that's what the NOS term means if you see that. But wrapping this up, I'll be honest, when I started doing some of these type of videos, I really didn't think I would be able to track down these two sets. And quite frankly, I was, you know, overall pretty content. But they came up, I got a decent deal on them. And I also have, you know, the nice reversible ratcheting made in the USA set as well. So I have a plethora of wrenches now that I can go for. Of course, as I showed in one of my other videos, I'm starting to get spoiled with tools like this, which is making sometimes the need for these less and less. But sometimes you don't want all that torque. You just want to go at it with a nice wrench, especially when I'm working on like the motorcycle or the interior car is usually when I use the professional line. If I start getting in the engine, even though I was using that as a use case, just depends if I'm on the top or down on the inside on what type of wrench I grab. So I'm really pleased that I was able to track these down. Again, it's kind of disappointing I can't make them the 10-piece sets, but that's fine. I got what I needed. I will put these in some better wrench holder than this setup right here and make sure that they, you know, that they're not getting scratched up in the toolbox. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, a little bit of the background, a little of my backstory on when I found out about Craftsman not being made in the USA anymore, and just kind of a blast from the past with this multi 12-point Craftsman combination ratcheting wrench set. Wow, that's a mouthful. And taking a look at these, I hope you enjoyed this. There are other videos like this on the channel. Check out the Craftsman Tools playlist, and you'll see a bunch of these others, and I'll have more to come. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And until next time, this is the Eclectic Handyman. We'll see you later.